Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about this new palette from Klarity Kosmetics. This is the Aloha Palette. It is just as bright on the inside as it is on the outside. This palette will be available on Friday, June 16th. It will probably already be available by the time this video comes out. I'm still playing catch up a little bit after my vacation, so I'm sorry for getting this one out a little bit later. Hello friends, it's Editing Amanda here with a little update. I filmed this review video the day before the palette launched, and apparently, according to the Klarity Kosmetics Instagram page, this palette sold out in 12 hours. So it went very quickly. Obviously, by the time this video is posted, the palette has already launched and already sold out. However, they did give a little bit of an update on the status of the Aloha palette. They said it's not a permanent item. It is going to be a limited edition palette. However, they are opening up a pre-order and they are considering another full restock as well, depending on just the demand for this palette. So it is technically sold out by the time I post this video, and I apologize. I'm still kind of getting back in the groove, like I said, after having, I think, 10 videos pre-filmed for my vacation. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is you can pre-order it, and if you are really interested in this palette, then you can go and express that interest to them, and that may make them more likely to do a full restock as well. So I just wanted to give you a little update. Again, apologies for my lateness on this video, but I'm getting back up on the reviews now. So hopefully I won't have to do a little interjection update like this again. But anyway, here's the info, and you can always go and check the Klarity Kosmetics Instagram page. They tend to do pretty timely updates there as well. Okay, back to not editing Amanda, back to filming Amanda. This palette will be available on the Klarity Kosmetics website. It will be priced at $56 US. However, exciting news, I now have an affiliate code with Klarity Kosmetics. I've been a fan of their eyeshadows for a really long time. They have these gorgeous pressed pigments. They're always very bold, very intense. And I've reviewed a lot of their palettes over the years and enjoyed a lot of their palettes over the years. So it's really exciting to now have an affiliate code with Klarity Kosmetics. It's the same as pretty much all of my other affiliate codes. It's just my first name, Amanda, and that will save you 10% on most things on the Klarity site, including this palette. So if you want to check out this new release, you can save a little bit of cash, which is exciting. I'm going to give you all the details. We'll take a close-up look at the palette, the packaging. I'm going to show you, of course, finger and brush swatches, and I'm also going to show you a tutorial for this eyeshadow look that I'm wearing today. You know, I had to go for the purples. So let's start with a close-up look at the Aloha palette. I have to say, I absolutely love the artwork on this palette. It is so bright and pretty and happy. I love all of the flowers. We got some little plumeria flowers here, which are very, very common in Hawaii, and some lilies, a beautiful little tropical parrot guy. Sorry, I don't know exactly what kind of bird this is, but it's all just very vibrant, and it really matches the vibes of the shadows inside, which I personally prefer that. I love it when the inside and the outside are indicative of one another. When you look on the back of the sleeve, there's some information about the shades inside, but it's not on the palette itself. So make sure you hang on to that sleeve, particularly if you're interested in ingredients, if you have sensitivities, etc. This palette does have a nice big mirror inside, and then we see 4 rows of 4 or 4 columns of 4, 8 matte shades, and then 8 metallic shades. And many of these shadow shades, well, I should say pressed pigment shades, have cheeky little pun names. I really like that. I'm sure some people think these little pun names are kind of cheesy. Personally, I'm here for the cheese. I think it's really cute and kind of campy. I really like that. It's just fun. These colors are so fun, so bright, and so pretty to stare at. Now let's take a look at some finger and brush swatches, and I also want to show you some swatches of this palette in rainbow order because I think it's interesting to see these shadows arranged in a different way. It might give you a different view of this palette. As usual for my swatches, you can see the finger swatches on top and then brush swatches below. All of the brush swatches are done with a dry brush. I do not dampen my brush and I don't use any sort of primer or setting spray or anything. These are just the shadows applied straight onto my skin. You can see these are incredibly intense, very, very pigmented. Even when you look at these lighter, like the pastel lavender, the reds, the yellows, these shadows are some that are often a little bit wishy-washy, tend to be a little patchy, but not with Klarity, not with these pressed pigments. They are bold, they are intense. A little bit goes a long way with these shadows, with the mattes and the metallics alike. My finger and brush swatches are in the order that the pigments appear in the palette, but I do want to show you a little rainbow order swatch because I think it gives a totally different take on this palette. And I think they are arranged thoughtfully, but this sometimes helps me visually anyway. I want to show you a tutorial for this eye look that I'm wearing, and I'll wrap up all my thoughts along the way. I'm going to be using the very top row of this palette to create my look. Like I said in the swatch portion, I do think that these shadows are arranged thoughtfully. The rainbow order swatch is very soothing to the brain, and at least for me, it helps me get a perspective on the distribution of shades and finishes, but I do think that these are laid out in nice little interesting groups, and I think it was done intentionally to encourage us to think outside of the rainbow palette box. It's very easy to get trapped in there, at least for me, because I am not somebody who is always doing color and combining brights and working with neons and working with all colorful rainbow palettes all the time. This layout helps me to see these shadows in groups that I may not have otherwise used them in. I can only speak for myself, but if these colors were arranged very monochromatically in that rainbow order, I think that I would tend to stick to that more. I don't think I would branch out and combine green and yellow or blue and green or red and purple as much as I would kind of do a one color, one note type of look. So I think that these are arranged really nicely. It definitely inspired me to do this eye look that is at the same time both colors that I love, but also out of my comfort zone. And I even added a bright pop of eyeliner, which isn't something I would usually do, but I was definitely inspired by this palette, by these bright colors, by this interesting arrangement, and that's really what makes me enjoy this palette and others like it. It gets me out of my comfort zone, and I love that. This one turned out great. I just used this palette again the other day to use some of the blues and greens, believe it or not, and I really enjoyed that as well. This palette has been a lot of fun to use, and I see it as a great companion palette to add some brights to my other palettes as well. I think this palette is really fun. This is a great summertime release. I might be a little bit biased because I did spend some time living in Hawaii. My son was born there. That's why, if you've ever seen, I have a hibiscus tattoo. So I'm very partial to the Hawaii theme of it all. I love that there's an even split between mattes and shimmers. Typically, I'm not drawn towards all bright, very rainbowy type of palettes, but there are a lot of shades in here that really catch my attention. I like that there are some really soft notes in here, like these little lavendery purples, this really, really sparkly, foily light blue. And I'm actually very drawn towards this shifty turquoise color. Those are really interesting little notes in an otherwise very, very bright, could go very neon very easily with this type of color story here. But I think there's some interesting balance here. I do want to mention, because this is a pressed pigment palette, I say this in all of my Klarity reviews, these are intense. These shadows are not for everybody. These are not the typical eyeshadows that you might be used to if you're out here buying, you know, ColourPop palettes and Too Faced palettes and NARS palettes. These are intense. These are very bold. The powders tend to be quite soft because they are pressed pigments. And you know, every time I talk about Klarity online, people kind of complain about those things, which I don't think everything is for everybody. But I think if you go into it aware of that you're gonna have a better overall result. I don't know if you could tell from the tutorial, but I use these very lightly and build up very lightly. And they are really intense, really bold. They're pressed pigments. So these are not for the faint of heart. Just be aware of that going in. I really like that. I like how intense and bold these colors are. I like how true to color they are on the eye because of that. I like how metallic the shimmers are. I love a super metallic look on the lid. So I'm a fan of this. I realize that not everybody is interested in a very, very intense pressed pigment type of palette. So just be aware. These are bold. Personally, I like that, but I don't think it's for everybody. It's definitely not something I would recommend for beginners or people who are looking for a lighter, more wash of color, more little gentle type of eyeshadow. I think that's great too. And there's a lot of that out there. This is not that. Just be aware. Doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just different. Don't say I didn't warn you. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about this palette. Are you interested? Are you reaching for these tropical, bold hues for summer? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Brand new palette that... First sit-down video back is always hard. But this video, I don't know, that doesn't matter. It's just, and, I don't know if that made sense. The ponytail is back and she is thriving. I'm wearing a mixture of these two lip products. This is the e.l.f. lip lacquer in the shade Moody, and the Ulta lip tint juice infused lip oil thingy that was in my favorites in Buff Babe. That's what I'm wearing, these two mixed together. It's juicy. Literally. I don't know. I'm sweating. Sweaty Betty strikes again. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'm happy to be home and back filming. And I'm just always happy to see your little face. So cute. Okay, see you real soon in the next one. Bye bye now. I love your face. Bye.